And the third thing, again, goes into the collective
And I want your opinion on
individual
what I just said.
culture. I agree with what you said. I think it does have to do with that. Um, but it also links to what I'm about to say. The idea of I don't care what people think is such a lie here that they tell themselves.
Oh, they care.
And on top of everything, here's the thing. They on one hand they care what people think, but also on the other, it's a different way with how they care. So in the Middle East, in collectivistic societies, what I've seen is that we care about what people think in order to preserve social harmony, right?
Yeah.
So yes, you can go and display have public displays of affection. So you can wear whatever you want and go out, but that is going to disturb a lot of people, you know? And
Also,
you can say, well, fuck those people. Well, also, fuck you. Why is it that a lot of people need to feel uncomfortable because you need to feel comfortable?
hmm.
You know? However,
Give
here,
us some examples.
if you are making out in public, not like giving someone a kiss or like a peck, but like Frenching in
In the
public, a
Middle
lot of
East?
people, and the anywhere,
Okay.
but let's say with the Middle East, because I'm the type of person who finds that a bit, it's uncomfortable, but you do you. You know,
Yeah.
that's basically how
Doesn't
I
ruin
live
your
my
life.
life. You know, like I'm living my life as long as you're not impacting me personally. Do your thing. If I'm uncomfortable, I'm moving away. That's on me to deal with, not on you, right? But that's the idea that they have. So if someone starts fucking Frenching the girl in a mall, right? And you have families and kids and conservative families, kids where this is not a topic that you just bring up just because, you know, there's a topic that is brought up within a familial context, things like that. You've just
Over
disturbed
time.
five, yeah, like at a minimum, you've disturbed 2 to 3 people, at a maximum 20 around you,
Hmm.
right? Maybe more. But anyway, you've just made other people feel uncomfortable, right? So the laws in place are like, listen, this is something you can avoid, so just don't do it. And that's the law now.
Yeah, it's like you don't need
Because
to be making out in the middle of a mall around kids.
exactly, because if you do make out in the middle of the mall around kids, it's not something that I can avoid if I'm there.
Hmm.
I can't avoid you doing it in front of me. I can turn around, but I've already seen
But that's like a
it.
social responsibility that's not
Exactly.
present in Canadian culture.
In
Or at
Canadian
least,
culture, the
or at least
social
I want to
construct.
say in current Canadian culture,
Mm.
because previous Canadian culture is something to be respected. And that's something I might bring up later.
I'm not educated enough to have an input on that topic, so I'd love to hear your perspective. Here, what I've seen, it's sort of reverses. It's like I'm gonna do what I want, and it if you have a problem with it, it's your problem, right? That's something I also understand, right? But you're also inviting friction. You're also inviting, like, okay, you wanna wear what you want. But at the same time, you're also imposing this idea that I get to do what I want and there's nothing you can do about it.
So there's like a
And
lack of social consent,
yes,
even though consent is a big thing to them.
yes, but only personal consent.
Yeah, because like, bro, for them, it's like what I don't like about Canada and Canadians, because I know there are Canadian viewers, even some American viewers. You guys have to admit you value the individual. Well, maybe not you personally, but your culture values the individual over the community.
But also to add to that, um, they there's also a lack of information that they are willing to give people, which I still don't understand.
What do you mean?
So, so in the Middle East, they tell you, don't do this. Here's the culture. This is what's wrong, and this is how we see it. Therefore, this is why you can't do that. Here, it's like I want to do what I want. Okay, but I want to. But why? Why do you want to dress this way? Because that's how I feel, and you do not have the right to inquire any further if I don't want to elaborate any further.
Mm.
So, regardless of what I do that's making me feel good, you have to get over everything that I am that's making you feel distress because I don't want to feel any distress.
Mm.
So, do you see this loop that they put themselves into? So they also don't want to educate people on like the actual core meaning behind these behaviors. And that is going to continue to cause friction. And our only response is some people are going to be this way.
But
And
the
it's like,
thing
yeah,
is,
but why?
Adrian, the thing from my point of view, they don't want to educate people on the core meaning behind these behaviors, like you said, making out in front of kids at the mall, or let's talk about things that actually happen, like in pride festivals, literally wearing thongs in front of kids
Yep.
or stuff like that. Or I've seen even in Canada, people will just scream and blare music in public and like on the streets. They'll do behavior that's like, dude, do it in your own house. Why the hell are you taking it on the streets? And back to what you said, the reason they don't explain, and this is my opinion, the reason Canadians and North Americans and Eastern European, not Eastern, Western Europeans who engage in this behavior don't explain why they are engaging in this behavior is because there is, my opinion, no substance to this behavior. It's a simple act of rebellion in a place where there's no need for rebellion because everything is so secure that you've gotten to a point where you feel empty in your life. So you want to engage in these easy acts of rebellion. But as we discussed, if you're engaging in like making out in front of kids, if at festivals you're engaging in nudity in front of kids, if you're committing lewd acts in front of kids, that's inappropriate. If you're just wearing regular attire, no matter what your background is, and someone thinks it's inappropriate, that's their problem. But there is a sense of decency that all people, in my opinion, should engage in, a sense of public responsibility to not dress in a lewd way in front of children. They haven't
Okay.
developed sexually. They don't know what that is. You don't want their parents to answer these questions way before these kids are thinking about it. So why go and act in such a provocative way? And that's the key word, provocative. Many of these people who wear whatever their background is, when they dress in certain ways that are rebellious, skimpy or offensive language, or if you have religious figures that are portrayed like horribly or comedically, in my opinion, you're not there to express your true beliefs. You're there to provoke, you're there to antagonize, you're there to specifically make people feel uncomfortable and sometimes even angry. And it's like, why? Why? When people commit acts of rebellion where we're from, where in other places that aren't as advanced, they're doing so because it's a threat to their life, it's a threat to their family. They're protesting because they don't have medicine. They're protesting because they don't have electricity, food. They're protesting or they're defending themselves because there's a war going on. But in North America, in some causes, there are causes that should be fought for, like indigenous infrastructure, like environmental activism. I get that. But in some causes where it's totally based on your personal sense of identity, which the law doesn't stop anyways, you're not fighting for something you need to protect. You're fighting to provoke and bring attention to yourself because you feel there's a void. And instead of going for a difficult cause like genital mutilation in children, instead of going for sexual assault of other people, instead of improving prison standards, instead of improving health standards, instead of anti-war, you're going for something easy where you can become the main attraction and demand attention that makes other people uncomfortable. I apologize for being a bit heated, viewers, but this is something I feel strongly about.
I appreciate what you said.